Hi grade 9s, I'm going to make another video today, and I think this video will help you with your assignment that is due this weekend. I'm going to look at a table of values, and the table of values compares the number of days that a student is absent from class, so the number of days a student does not go to class, and their final grade or their final mark in the class. What we're going to do is we're going to look at this table of values that I found online, and we're going to make a scatter plot, and we're going to make a prediction. So let's look at that table of values that I found right now. Okay, you've seen the table of values, and you see that the grades, they start high and they go low. They start high and they keep decreasing. So we know that when we make our scatter plot, it should be a scatter plot where the points start high and keep going down and down and down and down further, depending on how many days the student is absent from class. So I'm going to go to Desmos. This time I'm going to do it on my cell phone so I can show you it can work on your cell phone or on your Chromebook. I'm going to enter the table into Desmos on my cell phone. And remember, if I want to enter a table, I need to push or tap on the plus button on Desmos, and that will allow me to enter my table of values. Okay, so we've entered our table of values into Desmos, but just like last time, we can't see any points on the Desmos graph, which is not ideal. But remember last time we had to find the wrench button. The wrench is a tool that a plumber uses. We had to find that feature on Desmos. We had to tap it or push it. And when we push it, we get this screen that pops up where I can change my X's and my Y's so that I can see the actual graph. Okay, so if you remember what I just typed into the Desmos program, I typed in that X should be between 0 and 15 and Y should be between 0 and 100. And I know that that is the part that some students find confusing. So I just want to remind you why I did that. So X is the first column. Our number of absences went from 0 to 9. Okay, so 0 is the smallest number of absences you can have. And I chose to pick a number a little bit bigger than 9 so that I could make some predictions or some guesses about numbers of absences bigger than 9. So I just chose 15. You could have chosen 12, you could have chosen 20, something a little bit bigger than 9. Now, the Y is the second column, and the second column is the final grade. Well, I went from 0 to 100 because I know that my lowest mark I can get as a percent is 0, and my highest percent I can get is 100. So that's why I picked those numbers. And again, I understand this is the tricky part. So you have to use some common sense when you're changing your settings using that wrench feature. Okay, so now we can see our points from our scatter plot, but we can see something else on the graph as well. We can see the line of best fit. Now that's there because I've added something else to Desmos. I've entered that funny equation with the little squiggly line between the y and the mx plus b that we added last week, and that's given us the line of best fit. So I want to help you do that because I know that's something that's a bit new for you. So we are going to go to the bottom of the screen and we're going to add this equation. Y, not equals, but squiggly line, mx1 plus b. Remember, you need to put the little 1 and the little 1 here because those are in the table of values on Desmos. So I just want to remind you the part, this m, which should be a number, this part that's in front of the x, that will be the rate of change. And the part that's by itself, that will be the initial value. So let's go ahead in Desmos and enter that funny equation. And that is how I'm going to get the line of best fit that you saw on my screen. Okay, so now we've seen on Desmos that our M is minus 2.8 and our B is 88.73. Our M, the part that's in front of the X, that tells us that it's dropping, or the rate of change is going down 2.8 each time you're absent. And the initial value, it starts at 88.73. So if I were to make a table of values, my table of values, remember these are the absences. These are the final grade. At the beginning, my final grade would be 88.7. And then every single time you're absent another day, your mark should go down minus 2.82. Minus 2.82. Okay, so I've just shown you our scatter plot that has the line of best fit, and you will see that I have added my own, I've marked up my picture, I've added my own little red lines on the graph, and those red lines were me predicting what the final grade would be if a student was absent 12 times. So I started at 12 on the horizontal axis, I went up to the line of best fit, I went across and I found the final mark. Let's look at that one more time so you can see what the final mark would be using the line of best fit if a student was absent 12 times. Okay, so what I've done on Desmos is I have just checked at 12 absences. I keep going up to my line of best fit. I go across. Oh, and I want to see what my final grade is. If you looked at Desmos, when I start at 12 absences and I go across, it looks like my mark should just be a little bit higher than 50%. Let's see why that makes sense. Let's go back to our equation here. Okay, so the equation, that's the Y, that's the final grade. The X, that's the absences. So let's write this again. Let's say our grade is equal to minus 2.82727 every absence, and it starts at 88.7327. Okay, so let's say that I have 12 absences. That means I want to go negative 2.82727 times 12 plus 88.7327. I'm going to get my calculator and I'm going to check to see what that answer is. But I hope it's an answer that's close to what our graph gives us. Our graph told us that at 12 absences, if we use our line of best fit, it should be something close to 50. So I'm going to get my calculator and I will check. Okay, so just like I hoped, when I did the math on my calculator, when I did minus 2.82727 times 12 for 12 absences, plus the initial value of 88.7327, I got 54.8. Just like my line of best fit showed me. It showed me that if I'm absent 12 times, my mark should just be a little bit above 50. And that mark is 54.80546. So again, I want to reinforce that the only reason we make a line of best fit is for predictions. If you want to know, for example, if you were absent 18 times, you could use your line of best fit, go across. It would suggest that your mark is lower than 50. And if you put the 18 into the equation, instead of 12 absences, put 18, you get a mark here that's lower than 50. So you wouldn't be passing the course. Okay, I hope this video helps you with your assignment. Please keep sending me your questions and I'll keep answering them.